Grew up in this state. You know, she knows what this state's all about and the way they support the Fever. Like, she wants it like just all of us do. And you have to remember, like, she was a player, and like, coaches have the same competitive fire that players do. They just don't get to put on the jersey. And at times, I'm sure that's really hard for them. Like, they want to be out there and maybe have the ball in their hands a little bit. I mean, I don't know that they're getting pretty old, so I don't know if her knees will keep up. But, you know, I think that can be the hard thing for them at some times. But they want it just as bad as the players do. They're not there to, you know, just stand there and tell us what play to run. Like, they're here, they have a competitive fire, they know what this organization's all about, and, you know, they're trying to help us, you know, have a championship mentality and win championships.
What's it like for you to have a moment like that, play out so publicly, and everybody to have an opinion on it?
It's my life. Yeah.
Are you used to it any more than you?
Used to it, yeah.
What even led to it? Just the blow up. Not blow up, but like.
I think we were down 20 points, so probably that.
And then for you,
And it wasn't a blow up, so I wouldn't put that either.
Yeah. Sorry for framing.
It's all good.
But when you
Heads up.
have those moments where you have the passion, you talk about that, and you
Yeah.
talked about this before. But is there any line that you see within yourself where you're like, maybe I've gone too far, maybe I haven't? How do you?
Absolutely. Like, I'm not perfect.
Caitlin Clark just shut down the internet, and she did it in under 2 minutes. Standing in front of reporters on June 1st, the Indiana Fever's star point guard looked directly into the cameras and said what her own locker room had already moved past, that the moment everyone was losing their minds over online was never actually a moment at all. You've probably seen the clip by now. Sideline footage from Portland, Oregon. Clark and Fever head coach Stephanie White locked in what looked like a pretty intense exchange during the game. The kind of thing that gets screenshot, slowed down, dissected frame by frame. And within hours, the takes were flying. Drama, tension, a star player and her coach at odds. The narrative wrote itself. Except according to everyone actually inside that building, the players, the staff, the coaching team, nothing happened. Caitlin Clark made that very clear. She told reporters, and I'm paraphrasing here because her actual words are worth sitting with, that the whole thing came down to two competitive people who both desperately want to win. That's it. That's the story. Two women who care so deeply about this team that they're going to get in each other's faces on the sidelines sometimes, the same way players and coaches have done in every sport, at every level, for as long as competitive sports have existed. And yet somehow, when it's Caitlin Clark, it becomes national news. She went further. She pointed out, pretty bluntly, that a lot of the people running with this story don't actually have a clue. Not her words filtered through a publicist. Not a carefully worded statement from the franchise. She stood there and said it herself, on camera, in a live press conference. Nobody in the locker room thought twice about it. The moment died right there on the sideline. The only thing that kept it alive was everyone outside the building deciding to make it something it wasn't. And then she said something that's going to stick. She said she rides with Steph. She rides for those girls. That Stephanie White has her back more than anybody. That their relationship is one she'll carry for the rest of her life. Now think about what that means for a second. This isn't a player giving a diplomatic answer to protect the organization. This is a 24-year-old who has been under a microscope since before who has had her every move analyzed and weaponized and turned into content, standing up and refusing to let a fabricated narrative take root. She's not just defending herself. She's defending her coach. She's defending the culture they've built inside that locker room. White echoed it almost word for word. She said they are both competitive, both stubborn, that they are more alike than different, and that she hopes they keep bringing the best out of each other. That's not damage control. That's two people who actually understand each other. And really, this whole thing is a perfect lens for looking at where the WNBA is right now, because the league has never had more eyes on it, which means it's never had more people looking for a story that isn't there. Let's actually zoom out for a second, because the Indiana Fever and this moment don't exist in a vacuum. They exist inside a league that has been through 30 years of battles to get here. The WNBA was founded in 1996. When it tipped off for the first time, there were exactly 8 teams. The Charlotte Sting, the Cleveland Rockers, the Houston Comets, the New York Liberty, the Los Angeles Sparks, the Phoenix Mercury, the Sacramento Monarchs, and the Utah Stars. 8 cities, 8 rosters, an entire league built from scratch with no guarantee any of it would last. Fast forward to today, and there are 15 franchises. The Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky, the Connecticut Sun, the Dallas Wings, the Golden State Valkyries, the Indiana Fever, the Las Vegas Aces, the Minnesota Lynx, the Portland Fire, the Seattle Storm, the Toronto Tempo, the Washington Mystics, all part of a league that has grown, contracted, relocated, reinvented itself, and kept coming back. Some of those original 8 didn't make it. The Utah Stars moved to San Antonio, then eventually became what is now the Las Vegas Aces. The Charlotte Sting folded. The Cleveland Rockers folded. The Sacramento Monarchs folded. And the Houston Comets, the very first dynasty this league ever produced, folded too, though there are reports that Tillman Fertitta has purchased the Connecticut Sun with plans to bring a team back to Houston under the Comets' name as early as 2027. 30 years in, and the original franchise that built the blueprint might actually be coming home. But here's the wild part that doesn't get said enough. The WNBA, right now, is the oldest women's professional sports league in North America. 30 years old. Still standing. Still growing. Still producing the kind of moments that stop people mid-scroll. The very first WNBA game was played on June 21, 1997. New York Liberty versus the Los Angeles Sparks in Los Angeles. On one side of that court was Lisa Leslie, 2-time champion, 4-time MVP, the woman who would go on to record the first in-game dunk in WNBA history in 2002. On the other side was Rebecca Lobo, Olympic gold medalist, one of the most recognizable faces women's basketball had at the time. The league was brand new, and it opened with a matchup that actually meant something. Teresa Weatherspoon gave the league one of its earliest iconic moments in the 1999 finals when she launched a shot from beyond half court with less than 3 seconds left, and somehow, impossibly, it went in. She said afterward that she knew, that it felt like slow motion. Like the universe just decided that was going to happen. Cheryl Swoops was the first player signed by the league. She had just finished a legendary run at Texas Tech and walked straight into becoming one of the defining players in WNBA history, 3 MVPs, 4 championships, and the first triple-double in league history, also in 1999. Tina Thompson was the first player ever selected in the WNBA draft, picked first overall in 1997 out of USC. She and her Houston Comets teammates won the first championship that same year, defeating the New York Liberty on August 30, 1997. A league with that kind of history, that kind of survival story, is not a league you should be sleeping on. And you're not, because you're here. So when Caitlin Clark stands in front of a microphone and tells the world to stop creating narratives out of nothing, she's doing it inside a league that has been fighting that exact same battle for 30 years. The fight to be taken seriously on its own terms. The fight to have the actual story told instead of the easy one. She said it herself, they can't control the outside narrative. They can't control where people choose to take a snippet of a moment and run with it. But they can control what happens inside that locker room. And apparently, inside that locker room, the moment was dead before the final buzzer even sounded. That's the story. Not the confrontation. Not the drama. The fact that a team is so locked in, so aligned, so genuinely invested in each other that the thing the entire internet spent 48 hours dissecting was just Tuesday to them. The WNBA is 30 years old. Caitlin Clark is 24. Stephanie White is her coach, her confidant, her ally. And the only real tension here is between what actually happened and what people decided to believe.